Hello, everyone, and we are live. Yeah, welcome to today's broadcast. I'm your host, Lawrence Nkwocha, and I'm so glad to have you today on the live broadcast. This is Formula for Everyday podcast, where we talk to thoughts and topics in personal development and mindset and leadership. Sometimes we discuss books, sometimes we just discuss thoughts around contemporary topics as it affects life and everything around us. So, welcome once again. Like we usually say that we may hope to do the better things tomorrow, but the best things are done today. So, whatever opportunities you have, you need to try your best as much as possible to maximize it to ensure that you are living life to its fullest so that you don't get to regret any moment at any point in time. So, welcome once more. So, today we have a very interesting topic, and I'm so happy and glad that we are going to be discussing this topic because it's a very interesting one for me, and it's something that I believe everybody should pay attention to, especially as adults. As we continue to grow and advance in life, we continue to see the need for the topic that we're going to discuss today. And we will be discussing around the theme of consistency. But particularly, I'll be taking the route of what is the cost of consistency. We keep talking about, consistency, consistency, consistency. Don't understand exactly the meaning of consistency is. And what I began to realize is that consistency is a very vital part of any reasonable thing that any achiever wants to do, but it's also very expensive. It's expensive to remain consistent. So I coined today's thought and discussion as the cost of consistency. So in the most recent past, what I've come to realize is that the most valuable time for any dream at all is when the dreamer gets broke. Like I said, consistency is not just a matter of soft skills and internal determination and grit and the other characters and the other attributes like patience and discipline. You also need finance. You need to finance your consistency. So the most valuable time for any dream is when the dreamer gets broke. So when I was younger, a lot of things I wanted to do, I was able to do it out of sheer willpower and determination to grow older. What I've come to realize is that adulthood can come to you in very very surprising ways that would challenge you to rethink everything you once knew about consistency. So we're discussing about how your life is like a business. If you consider your life to be, you would have a different approach to how you do things because your life requires operations every single day. If that stays at home to work, you have to pay for your utilities and all the bills that help you ensure that you actually deliver on your work every single day. And for you to show up with enough energy every single day so that you don't get fired from your job, it requires funds, it requires money. Yes, I would totally agree that skills like discipline, grit, patience, determination are the bedrock, they are the foundation of consistency. But a time comes where you've acquired those different soft skills to a very great extent that the next thing you will need in order to move to the a bigger part of your life in order to be able to scale what you're already doing is funds. You need funds because your life is like a business, and when you think about your business, especially as I grow up and start running my own business, I'm able to understand better that business requires operation. So you need to be able to operate your business, and if you think about how you operate your business, that's almost how you operate your life because you may not have employees in your life right now like a personal assistant or somebody that ensures that everything is done the way it's supposed to be done. or like a maid, but you have to understand that you're wearing different hats every single day. And in order for each of those individuals that are combined in you as a person to function, you need funds to actually make it work. So you see, you simply cannot just um, take things for granted, because it's easy to win once, but a whole lot of it takes a whole lot of zeal and determination with funds, like I earlier mentioned, to be able to win again and again. And if you must win again and again, it's where the magic happens, because winning once is a good thing, which is easy because anybody can win any day. But it takes a different level of commitment to be able to win any single time you show up, or most of the times you show up. And the thing again about consistency is there are good days and there are bad days in life. I mean, there's nothing you can do to dispute the fact that your days cannot just be good and good. You cannot be at 100% every single day. But the idea of consistency is being able to put some scores on the board in spite of how you feel. Because if you are in a third world country like Nigeria, or you live in Africa at all, there are a lot of limitations that tend to hold young people back, especially if you're in the creative industry. Um, you have a lot of limitations that you need to scale in order to be able to advance as a thinker in the third world. So your consistency is that you have the the determination that no matter what comes your way, you are able to look for a way to still do what you are meant to do in order to be able to advance. Okay, so that's usually what consistency is. And when we also consider the topic of consistency, we consider it in terms of varying degrees. Because if somebody does one thing, you see, every month for a full year, the person is consistent. The person does it once every single month for a full year, the person is consistent. If somebody does something once every year for, let's say, 10 years, the person too is also consistent. That's consistency from these two different people, even though they are doing it to different frequencies and varying degrees. However, the kind of consistency that actually makes things work, the kind of consistency that actually moves the needle from where things are now to where you probably want them to be tomorrow, is the kind of consistent actions you take every single day without fail. Now, doing something every single day is really difficult. Like I mentioned, there are already a lot of limitations, especially in Africa. There are already a lot of limitations in Nigeria. We're talking about electricity. We're talking about a lot of stress in commuting, like transport. There are a lot of limitations, but these these can turn to be your excuses. You see, in the world of great achievers trying to attain that level of consistency, these are some of the costs you have to pay. So you have to think of ways to overcome your limitations in spite of the fact that they are very obvious. And I mean, your excuses can be valid, but they can't get you what you want. So, in order for you to stay consistent, you have to look for a way around them or a way to break them. So, thinking about this, thank you very much, Onike, for the live today. I really appreciate you. Yeah, don't you can just be engage me on today's live. All right, so consider how much you need to push in order to be able to stay consistent and continue to move as a creative or in any profession that you find yourself. You see that consistency is actually very expensive, it's costly. So like I mentioned, there are different varying degrees of consistency, and the most important one is the consistency of doing a certain thing every single day without fail. And when we talk about doing things every day, I've always had this philosophy that anything worth doing is worth doing every day, because a day is like a microcosm of your entire life. A day is like it's like a picture of what your life will actually become. It's like a picture of what your future will become. So imagine that you a person continues to live bad days. Like if you actually record everything that you do in a day and you find out that it's a bad day and you continue to repeat that pattern over the course of a year, that year is going to be a bad year. And if you continue to repeat bad years, then it will turn out to be that the person's life will turn out to be a failure, which is a very bad place to be. So that's why paying attention to how you live every single day and living it intentionally is very important, because even without you understanding the compounding effect that is having, you know that these are things that are happening consistently. So if you even start breaking it down to um, living intentionally per hour, you now find out that it's also a very deep thing that you need to pay attention to. So living intentionally is a very is something that you need to really focus on, especially the actions you do every single day. So when we talk about some of the actions you do every single day, we're talking about actions like how you take care of your spiritual life, how you take care of your spirit, man, because this world is not just physical. The world is a spiritual world. The world is a spiritual world. There are a lot of frequencies of thoughts that are pervading our atmosphere. You know, even if you learn from traditional broadcast of television and radio, you find out that you cannot just get into frequencies until you tune in. You need to get the particular frequency that is already that has radio waves in the air in order for you to be able to hear or see what that particular channel is saying. So the same thing happens with our spiritual life. So we need to be attuned with our spirit, with our thoughts, in order to be able to succeed. Then we also need to pay attention to our personal development. Like I believe everybody that has been following Formula for Everyday podcast is very intentional about their personal growth, because that's exactly what we do here. Then your health, you need to exercise daily. You need to, and these are things you don't just do when you feel like doing it. You have to do it as consistently as possible. So you also talk about things like relationship with your family, your friends, and even your finances, like which you are centering on today as one of the cost of consistency. So it's not just by mere motivation that you'll be able to replicate success. Yes, determination is good, but at some certain point in your life, if you don't have the money to protect your finances, you are going to have to stop what you're doing. You see, I like one particular scripture that says that money is a defense. Now, money in terms of consistency defends your consistency. It helps you to continue to take action, predictable action. Because if you don't have funds to be able to, you know, get an alternative for power supply, you would fail to do what you're supposed to do with power. If you don't have the funds to be able to get to get an alternative to transport, you fail to do exactly what you're supposed to do. So consistency is very vital. And when you begin to pay attention to your finances, these are some of the topics that a lot of young adults don't talk about, because having the understanding that your consistency, your ability to continue to move in spite of what is going around you is dependent a lot on your cash flow. Yes, you need, like I mentioned, as you continue to build skills like your willpower, your determination, your grit, your patience, to continue to drive. These are internal things, but what becomes external is the cash that you're able to keep aside. we usually use this English saying that you keep things for the rainy days, the English idiom. So what it actually means is every day could be a rainy day when it comes to every day could be a rainy day when it comes to the subject of consistency. So you need to be consistent enough to attack every day as someone that is planning for battle, because anything can come to disrupt, to pay attention to your cash flow, and um, you'd be able to sustain every action that you are building to be able to accumulate to give you exactly what you want. So I really do hope that you have been able to gain great value from today's broadcast, because consistency is expensive. Yes, you can be good enough to get the determination, you can be good enough to get grit, you can be good enough to get patience and all these other things. But if you are lacking in cash flow in order to be able to create options and alternatives for you, then your consistency will not be entirely complete. Especially if you plan to scale, if you plan to play in the league of giants and um, big achievers in the world. So consistently pay attention to your finances is very, very important. And just to give more emphasis on discipline. Yes, discipline is very. In fact, if you don't have discipline, enough willpower, patience, grit, determination, then your money cannot help you. It's in the days of survival and struggle that you begin to build some of these characteristics and attributes that will help you to sustain your consistency when you eventually have cash flow. So building all this is the foundation that will help you to grow. But if you don't have enough of these soft skills to serve as a bedrock to your growth, then it becomes useless. I mean, you cannot be able to sustain anything even if you have the money. In fact, it will become your own undoing when you have the money, because you've not been able to build these characteristics in the day of struggle. So on a final note, what I would say is that the greatest assassin of consistency is you going broke. So, as much as possible, try your best not to go broke. Ensure that you have savings. If you can't save, ensure that you have a consistent stream of income that would help you stay consistent, because you need a lot of iterations in repeatable actions for you to grow. And when you stop repeating these actions, it breaks your momentum. So, in order for you to be able to protect your consistency and not consistently live in survival, you need you need cash. And I mean, I'm not talking about billions and millions. I'm talking about enough cash that would sustain your daily operations. You are not supposed to go broke. You are not supposed to go like you are not supposed to ever be on zeros. So as much as possible, you need to, do the work, put in the mental work, put in the physical work to be able to ensure that you protect your finances and you are able to pay the price for consistency. So I'm so glad that you are here on the call today. Thank you very much, D. Collins. Thank you very much, Oinike. I really appreciate you coming on the live today. And I'm so happy. I believe you've gotten value from this live. This live holds every day at about 5 p.m. to the hours of 6 p.m. West African time. This is Formula for Everyday podcast where we discuss personal development topics, sometimes about books, sometimes profound thoughts. Until I come your way again, I remain your host, Lawrence Nkwocha, and like we always say, we may hope to do the better things tomorrow, but the best things are done today. Bye for now.